Okay.
Yeah, started.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Yeah. So our first question is like valid permutation for DI sequence, and we are given a string S, which length n, which consists of string of set of. I mean, they'll follow this. These are the set of the characters should be used. Decreasing and I stands for increasing. And valid permutation is a permutation of p naught to pn, where like these are the set of integers such that for all I, if ith character is d, that means that the element at p of I is greater than I plus 1, and if that, I mean, this is decreasing, that means, and if it is I, then the current element will be less than your next element. So you have to find out how many such valid permutations are there, and answer can be large, so you just take the mod of it. So if you look at DID, right, so decreasing, increasing, and then decreasing. So if we take this, what you can see, what do you say, 0 and 1, right? I mean, these four numbers here, if you take this, what will happen? So decrease, 1 is greater than 0, so this is what do you say, decreasing. Again 0 and 3, this is increasing, and again 3 and 2, this is decreasing, right? This
Right,
is
right,
also decreasing, then this is your increasing, and again this is your decreasing, and
right.
yeah, so on and so forth, you can
So actually,
check it.
what I think what happens is, if you look for this the first example, this one,
Yeah,
and if you start looking at these inputs, right? So if that the first D, okay, so if you are at this location, the
yeah,
first one, so then what will happen if you start at this location and if you have a D, it means the next element has to be lower than the this element.
current element, yes.
Yeah, current element. So our 0, okay, is actually lower than 1. So therefore, this is one permutation. And if you go for, then you go for the next will be I, right? So in
Yeah,
that case, now my current becomes 0. So I
yeah,
need to check the next element of 0. It should be greater than 0. So it is 3. So it is greater than 0, right? So therefore, this also condition satisfies over here, right? Now, when you again come to 3, now your 3 becomes your current element, right? And at that time, then you look for D, which is at location 2, right? Because it is the same location as 3 is.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so then this says it has to have a decreasing element next to it. Okay, so therefore after 3 you have 2, which is decreasing, right? So this is one permutation. If you look at the second one also, it is the same one, right? So second one you start with 2, and then 0 is lower than 2, therefore that decreasing for this one actually satisfy for the second element, and
Mhm.
so on and so forth, right? So you can actually form only 5 such permutations if we actually go with this input,
0, 1, 2, 3, yeah. It can
right?
start from any, need not be 0, right? It can be anything, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 10 to 20.
Well, if you look at the problem statement, they say it has to
Okay,
be
okay, yeah.
0, right?
0,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah, I missed that.
right. Yeah, they always say from, and even if our size is size of n,
Mhm.
correct? So, but it always starts from 0 to n.
0
So,
to
therefore,
10.
we can take that extra.
Okay, yeah.
Correct. So, basically, this boils down to be more of a permutation problem, correct?
Yeah.
So, if you look
But
at this, and if we use general backtracking to form any of these permutations and just look for this condition, whatever is there in the input, right? So,
mhm.
then we can form a controlled permutations and then return the number. We just have to return the number of permutations. We don't even have to return these permutations.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Only I think, is it passes with backtracking or TLE it hits?
it will TLE,
It will
right?
TLE. Yeah.
Yeah, because if you do it now, usually what will happen for a backtracking permutation, you will try to construct these ones, right? So all of these combinations, and there may be many of them combinations, right? Because see, usually what will happen if we start from the first, like if it is D, okay, in this case, and I and D. So if we actually take an example for this, what will happen? Now we have 0 to 3 numbers what we can take. Okay, so for first, if it is D, I can take 0. I cannot take 0 because 0 is the smallest element, right? So you cannot have, because when it says at this first location, it is supposed to be decreasing. So if you take 0 at this first location, so you can't have any number from 0 to 3, right? 0 to 3, so which will be lesser than 0. So you'll drop 0. So if you take 1, you know that the next element you can at least pick 0, which will be decreasing. So 1 will be possible. And then if you can take 2 also, and you can take 3 also, right? So at this first location you can take 1, 2 and 3, and therefore if you look at this column, you only see 1, 2 and 3. You don't see any other value than that, right? So when you come to 1, if you take 1, so now what are the options? You can take either 0. Okay, only 0, you cannot take more than that,
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah.
right? So now if you come to 2, you have more options. You can take 1, or you
0.
can take 0 also.
Makes sense. Yes.
Yeah, and for 3, you can take 1,
Two
sorry, you
zero.
can take 2, right? Yeah, 2, 1 and 0.
0. Yeah.
Yeah. So now if you look for this D from, if it is increasing now from 0, so this actually completely goes away because, no, yeah, you can take. So from 0, you can take the next one, it has to be increasing. So you can take any of them. You can take 1, right? You can take 2, or you can take 3. Right. So this is one combination you can do from 1 and 0. Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But then what will, okay, so let's move for this one. In this case, what we have for 2 and 1, now it has to be increasing. Now it has to be increasing. So from 1, in this case, you can take either 2 or 3. Right. So you can take this 2 and 3 here after 1. If I write just like this here. And
Yeah.
then from 0, it has to be increasing, then it will be from 1 to 3.
1, 2, 3. Yes.
Yeah, so you'll have all these 3 characters. And if you go from 3 to 2, so if we have to have increasing from 2 to 3, it will be only 3,
It's
right?
not possible because you will repeat the number, right? That's why they have not taken the sequence as 3 comma 2, I think.
Right. So therefore
Yeah.
this will be out of question, you cannot
Out of question.
move ahead. But if you
Exactly.
have 1, you can take 2,
Mm.
correct? So you can
Yeah.
take 2 over here, and if you have 0, you can take at least, now you have to have increasing, right? So you can have 1, 2 and 3, but 3 is repeating, you cannot take. Okay,
Mm.
so you can take either 1 or 2. Okay, so if we, for now, if we can keep 1 and 2 both, we'll see what happens for the next one, right?
Yeah.
So if we go this way, now the first, again we have 1, 0, 3, but you can easily take 2, right? So this first combination is done from this 2, right? This 0 to 3 and 3 to 2. So you have one combination here. But if you go for 2, you can have this. Now you are at 2 and 3. So if you want to have a decreasing from 2, but you cannot take 2 because this will be a repeating, correct? So that is not possible. But if you take 2, 1, 3, and if you have to have a decreasing, you can take 0 in that case,
Yes.
right? So this will be the 2, 2, 1, 3, 0. So this is one what we did here, and we did this with this one also. So for 2, 0, actually you cannot take 0, you can take 1 increasing, but then you don't find any decreasing after that, right?
So 2 will come, which is
Yeah, so
violating.
this will go away, because you only have 2. So you have 2, 0, 3, and then you can take 1, which will be decreasing, and so therefore you can take this guy here. Yeah. So for the 3, you have the same thing. So this branch goes away, but if you have 3, 1, so 3, 1, you have 2, and then you can take 0, right? So this is one permutation. And for 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, you can take 3, 0, but if you take 1, you cannot find any decreasing, right? Because that will be increasing. So therefore 1 will go away. So but you can have 3, 0, and you have 2, and then 1
1.
will be decreasing. Yeah. right? So something like that. So
So you
yeah,
are generating all the possibilities, and then once you find the duplicate, you are canceling after.
yeah, we actually create all the permutations using a backtracking, but
Yeah.
we keep on looking for all these string conditions based on the string conditions did.
Hmm.
Okay, and then we only choose the ones which are valid, and then we count those valid ones at the end, because at permutation, if we do a backtracking, we wait till we are at the end of the our search space, right?
Yeah.
And at the end, we if we are able to reach it, and then it is like we have found a valid permutation. Or else if we don't reach, we don't reach because of these conditions only, right? So we eliminate the branches as early as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is one standard permutation backtracking way we can actually try to solve or address this problem. But yeah, as you said, it will surely hit a TLE, because the permutation we try to create all these combinations, and it's going to take a lot of CPU. It is a CPU intensive uh, work,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
okay.
And one which I was going through, I mean, it's the same. I think the base is same. Only what you're saying, like that permutation concept, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if there is 1032, and you have to obtain an increasing sequence, that means a number should be greater than 2 on this side, on the right side here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what they do, they increase one in all the numbers which are greater than or equal to 2 first. So like 1043, right? And now you can place 2. Makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
This
Also,
is
you are saying if you have a bigger number instead of three, if you have four.
yeah, no, I mean, this is your sequence. If you want to get a bigger one, right? If you let's say DID, and again you have to follow I. Let's say I you have to follow
Mm-hmm.
DIDI sequence if you have to follow.
Mm-hmm.
So what you will do? Uh,
You
you
needed
need
to
to
have something more. Okay.
bigger number. So in order to have a bigger number, I mean, let's say ending with 2 we have to do. So whatever numbers are, whatever digits in this array,
Mm-hmm.
which is equal to 2 or greater than 2, you increase them by 1. And now you push, no, this will give you a decreasing sequence, my bad, yeah. And for
I
increasing, you have to
think
subtract, I think, from them.
I think if we start from the right end, then it will make more sense because if we start doing it from the left end, then there might be some ambiguity. So since here we are adding 1, 2, 3, and 2,
Mhm.
so we don't know at first which elements we need to add because again we need to backtrack and see which elements we can add. So if we start from the right end, which is we start with n length permutation and then decide according to the string which digit to take or which number to take in the permutation. Then we can do some recursive calls and then it will make then it will be more easier to solve.
So here
How?
basically, yeah, go ahead.
So for example, if we want n length permutation and
Mhm.
let's suppose the last digit is 4 and
Mm-hmm.
the last character which we have is D. So this means we need a decreasing sequence here, uh,
Okay.
ending with ending with 4.
Mm-hmm.
So to end with 4 and the sequence has to be decreasing. So all the values which are left of 4 uh, and adjacent has to be always greater than 4, which is always 5 to 9 n value, I guess. And
Mhm.
if it had to be increasing, then the left adjacent values can be from 0 to 3. So this is how we can break the problems. We can break this problem into smaller sub-problem if we start from the right end. And then at each step, the problem will become more smaller and smaller. And at one instance, the size of the permutation which we want will tend to 0. So at that instant, we can say that we get one of the valid combination. So there we can return just one.
Okay. So either starting from left, or you are saying you start from right.
Yeah.
Okay, but what is a difference? So you are saying that that will be more easier to break down in the sense what to
Yeah, here,
understanding the intuition or
yeah, understanding intuition. Since we are
okay.
breaking large problem into smaller one, but
Mhm.
here we are doing smaller one to large one. So that is why, and even this string construction, the permutation construction which we are doing here is this 1032, and
Mhm.
then adding one. This will make more sense if we start from the right end itself.
Mhm.
Yes, so I
Since
Okay.
started from this end only, right? I wanted to make a decreasing. So to all the
yeah,
numbers which are lesser than that, I was adding 1 to them. 2 plus 1, 3, 3 plus
yeah,
1, 4. And now if I
yeah.
put 2, it will be decrease. Okay.
Hmm.
It's okay. The way Shashank was following, it was that way. That is what you're trying to say, Abhishek, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to share? Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I can share.
Okay. Yeah. And if we have to make increasing, we need to subtract 1 from them, right? All the numbers less than equal to that.
So let's suppose we have some function where the n denotes the length of the permutation, and then there is some value
Mm-hmm.
which determines that the current permutation ends with this value. For example, uh, we have this 5, which is we have a permutation of length 5, and it ends with 4. Let's suppose. So now, if the last character or the string at index 5, if uh, no, it will be 4, I guess. Yeah. So if it is I, which is increasing, so if the character is increasing, this means that uh, all the numbers before 4 has to be less than so all the numbers which are adjacent left to 4 has to be less than 4, which means that we can take all these numbers 0, 1, 2, and 3. The reason is if uh, 0, 4, then this means that this is an increasing sequence. Similarly, 1, 4 is a increasing subsequent sequence. Then 2, 4 is an increasing one, and then 3, 4 is also a increasing sequence. And if the character at the last index was D, which means that I need a decreasing subsequence sequence, then I can take 5 as the value. Since if I add 5 in the adjacent left and then I take 4, then this will make a decreasing sequence. So here we can see this function is further breaking into smaller subproblems. For example, if uh, so now what we need is we need all the sequence ending with 0. So after this step, we need all the sequence ending with 0, which will have length 4. Yeah, which will have length 4 including 0. And the rule which it will follow will be determined again using the value of the character at that particular index. Similarly, we have to find this combination, we have to find this combination, and then we have to find this combination. Now, if again it was decreasing one, we just need to find this combination. And now, since we need all possible combinations, we can just add whatever possible ways we could get of achieving those possible sequence. Uh, so if now here I will just add this. If S of 4 is equal to D, this means we need a decreasing sequence here ending with 4. So our final answer will be fun of. Now since we need one less length sequence ending with 0, since we need a decreasing one, and this same thing will be repeated for all other values which are less than 4. So the values are 3, then 2, then 1. Now again, if let's suppose we needed a increasing sequence, then we could just do this. Since there is only one value which is greater than 4, we just need to find this value, which is uh, our function call with length 4 and ending with 5. So this is what we have to do here if we start from the rightmost end. So here end determines the length of the permutation.
Okay. So you are trying to say that if you encounter in the S at a particular location, if it is D, okay, so you want to go from 0 all the way to the that character's digit -1, right? Okay, so you're trying to go from left to right, but if you encounter I, you're trying to go from right to left, right?
No. In all the cases, we are going from right to left only.
Yeah, but I mean to say the numbers.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
if you just think, okay, here there is no concept of right to left or left to right because we don't have any input as an array or so, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
only the
So,
numbers what we are actually looking for.
yeah. So, for example,
Just for a sec, Abhishek. Abhishek. Like zero, if the zero is used somewhere, you can't take that value. How do you avoid duplicates there, right? Let's say decreasing sequence is there, right? So
yeah,
0 to 3, or let's say 0 is used somewhere, so you can't use 0,
yeah,
or 1 is used.
yeah,
So how will you?
yeah. I got your question. So
Yes.
now, after we get this equation, now
Mhm.
we need to somehow check how to construct the given string itself. Because the reason is this does not make sense that we need a 4 length permutation with ending with value 5 here, which is this. We need a permutation of length 4, but the max value which we have is 5. This does not make sense, I guess. So this is why now we have to somehow do something which is we need to construct our given permutation itself such that this condition is all so satisfies that no duplicates arise. So for example, let's suppose I'm taking 4 here. Then this might happen that if we just do this recursive call after 0, if there was D again, which means decreasing sequence, so I could have taken values from 1 to 5 again, but again this 4 was repeating. So how to get rid of duplicates here? For this, we have to do something regarding the permutation sequence itself. So now I can take that particular example which you were taking. Uh,
1032.
what was the example?
1032.
1023. Yeah. One
3.
1032. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So the given string uh, till where we get this sequence is, I guess, D, then I, D. So this is this for this string we get this permutation. I'll just add space. Then yeah. So for this particular string we get, let's suppose we took one of the permutation as this,
Mm-hmm.
which is valid one. Now, let's suppose the value of S uh, changes to DIDD. So if the value changes to DIDD, how we have to change this particular permutation such that we get another permutation where this string is satisfied. So now to construct the given permutation, we can what we can do is since I need the last sequence to be decreasing one, I can and again I have some particular values which I can choose from, which is since there are 4, the length of the string is 4, so at max I can take values from 0 to 4. This will make sense uh, since
0
the
to
length
3.
of the string
But
0
at least you
to
should take, yeah, 0 to 4
Oh,
is correct.
1.
Yeah.
Okay, one more.
Yeah,
we take.
one more.
Only
Yeah.
one you should take. Yeah, that's right.
So let's suppose I want 2 as my last character, last number in my new sequence, which I construct from the previous sequence. So now if I want to add 2 at last using my previous sequence, I can see that 2 was already repeated here. And if I add 2 again, then there will be duplicate here. And again, my condition won't be satisfied. But if we look at this closely, we need a decreasing sequence. So how can we form a decreasing sequence? We can form decreasing sequence if the adjacent value left to 2 is either 3 or 4. So we need to add some value in this particular sequence in such a way that we get a valid permutation as well. And even then, the previous all the conditions are still satisfied. So here we can just add +1 to all the numbers which are greater than or equal to 2.
Makes sense.
So this will mean that this is 1043, and now we can add 2 here. So this is one of the valid permutation which we construct using this given permutation from the previous condition. Now, if we look at this closely, the decreasing sequence is satisfied. But again, uh, when I was considering 2, I could have taken 4 also here. But if I add +2 here, then if I add a +2 to all the values which are greater than 2, then this will go to 5. So 10532 won't be a valid permutation. So this is why I have to add +1 only to all the values which are greater than or equal to 2 here. Similarly,
Oh, so
so
you're saying only
here,
greater than or equal to 2. Other values,
yeah,
no.
Yes, yes, yes.
no.
And
Okay.
for
Now,
increasing, I think we have
similarly,
Uh-huh.
yeah, yeah. So similarly, if now even we can see how uh, the value which we can take as the last element, we can choose from the total number of digits. So previously I said it is 0 to 4, but I took only 2 here. The reason is since we are adding only +1 here, so at max the value of 3. So at max this value can go up to 3 only. Now, since I need a decreasing sequence, I need to add some value at last which is less than 3. So what are the values which are less than 3? It is 0, 1, and 2. So only this particular values can be added at last if we take this as the previous permutation.
So that's why we are taking length one greater, right? Initially, I mean, although
Yeah, yeah,
DID to
yeah.
Yeah,
compensate.
Now,
but in that case, there might be a situation wherein when you increase only that number, which is 2, so it might disturb the sequence, correct?
Entire cycle, yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So, so already you
So to
So
increase the
how do we
number.
get
handle that in that case?
uh,
I,
So to get
I
rid of the duplicate cases, this is why we were increasing all the values which are greater than or equal to. For example, if I was taking 0 here, I'll increase 0 also. So 0 will become 1. And now when I add 0, there won't be any case of duplicacy.
right, right. Yeah,
Yeah.
but at least you can look for a current number and then you either do a strict decreasing or strict increasing. So each and every location, if you do that, and if you're coming from where you are coming from, like if you start from the highest number, then you always
Yeah.
remember where you are. So either you go strictly increasing or decreasing only from that number,
Yeah.
excluding that number. So then you should be able to take care of the duplicates.
Yeah. Mm. Now,
And how do
if
you
we
take the
take,
first number, like one zero
So,
three to
so the
all?
first number will, okay.
Go ahead, yeah.
His the way he is approaching is slightly different, but the way if I do it, I will always pick up any number. I will have to pick up all the numbers actually starting from 0 to whatever n is, and anytime when I look for what my string, what the rule is, either decreasing or increasing, based on that I will select the next one. So then when I'm selecting the next one, if it is decreasing, then I know I have to go from current number all the way down to 0, right?
To
So
make
I'll
it
do a
equal.
recursive call like that. And in that recursive call, again, I will look for where I'm at the current position. And then if it is increasing, then I'll go from that number, from 0 to, I'll come to that number, excluding that number. So I'm actually traversing from left to right. But it's not an array, but we are just assuming it's a virtual array. But we are just taking all the numbers from 0 to n as a search space or whatever it is. Yeah.
No.
Okay. So,
So you'll
but his
convert
is a different way, right? Yeah. Yeah,
So
go ahead.
now
Sorry.
if we have I here instead of D,
Mhm.
again we will have too many values to choose from, which is 0 to 4 again. But if we look at this closely, since we need a increasing sequence, uh, which since we need a increasing sequence, we will be left with only some values which we can choose from. For example, if I choose 4 itself, then to to add 4 at the extreme right, I can again do the same thing, which is add all the numbers which are greater than or equal to 4 with plus 1. But here there is no number which is greater than or equal to plus 4. So I can just do this, which is 3, 4. No, 3, 2, 4. So now we can see here, this is again an increasing sequence with 4 as the last element. But now if I wanted the same with 3, uh, so if I wanted the same with 3, I need to add plus 1 to some of the elements. Since there is 1, 3 present, so I will just increment it to 4. So to get rid of the duplicate numbers. So now I will get here this 104.
two, two only.
So so now uh, we can see that the original conditions are satisfied whenever we are increasing. Yeah, we are only increasing even then, and now we are further extended it to some other condition using the previous permutation itself. So here, if we look at this closely, uh, the values which we were able to use when increasing was used was 4 and 3. So now if here if we take the previous function calls, we will get this intuition that whenever the value is ending with some digit and then we get a decreasing one, we need all the possible cases from 0 to the possible digit which has an end. And if we got a decreasing one, we just need to
Hey, Abhishek, you're
add
breaking.
plus 1, then
Your
go
voice is
to n.
breaking. Voice is breaking.
Hello, hello. Am I audible?
Now you're good. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I was explaining is, if we are at this instant, which is we are with permutation of 4, and now we want to further increase it with 5. So now then we get a to that possible digit which to hello in this instant, which is we are, so now we just need to of the string, and if it is a decreasing one, here we can see that these two values the last character for the last number, and if it was increasing, I took all the numbers which are one greater than the last number, and it went up till the length of the permutation. So if we further need to modify our recursive statement here, we can do this to a function of 4 comma 4. Now there won't be any case of repeated numbers in the given permutation, since whenever there was some case of duplicates, we were always adding some plus 1 to all the numbers which are less than or greater than or equal to, and then we were getting rid of duplicate cases. So this is how we construct the given permutation using the previous permutation, and uh, this uh, this approach which we took can be further simplified using the recursive call which we are doing here.
Okay. But so this is This is not creating the permutations as such, right?
Yeah. This is not creating permutation. We are just using recursive calls and then uh, taking all the possible combinations which we can generate.
Okay.
I
Yeah, but
think permutation was which
mhm.
Santosh was doing. Like you were generating all the possible options, right? And then
Yeah.
Yeah,
based on that,
but
you're
to
permuting.
some extent it is almost doing the same.
Hmm.
Okay, but then at the end your recursive function will look exactly the way you are showing on the first one, right? Func
Yeah.
140, because if you look when you are searching for 4, if you start from your left side, you're starting with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're taking either of all of these combination in that order, correct? Because it's
Yeah.
D.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And the same thing you will do for I, but in that case, you will actually go from your right side to the left side, right? In that case.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So for increasing, we
So
can't decrease, right? That will create a duplicate here. It will make a problem. I mean, like a DI, what you are saying. So 1032,
yeah.
I thought let's put 2. If I have to do, then I'll decrease all the numbers greater than or equal to 2 and 3. So it will be 1021, right?
Then
1021, but there is a
one
duplicate.
one will repeat here.
That's why.
This
Yeah,
is
that's
why we need to form some general process where we are just adding +1 to all the numbers which are greater than or equal to.
Yeah,
So
but that those
yeah,
things, they will be more specialized way of doing it, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So let's do the very basic things first, then we'll come to
good.
these specialized things, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So first,
Yeah.
actually, would like to just do the backtracking solution, and then maybe we can do this one, right? So if you just have something as a backtracking, okay, the simple one,
Mm,
what we do usually for a permutation, and then we just add these condition of DI,
yeah.
because why I'm saying this is when I looked at this problem, it was very hard for me to develop this intuition. When they gave
Yeah.
this
It is.
DID,
It is
I
very
didn't
hard.
even understand what is it 1000 to 4 and why they are giving me so much permutations, right?
It's
So it
Yeah.
took
ultra.
a very big time. So what I did is I just used the same uh, permutation, whatever we use a backtracking solution. I implemented that, and I literally found all those permutation using that array. I just constructed an array of 0 to 1, 2, 3, 4, and I did those things. And then only at the end, I was just adding a number 1 if it was reaching the at the end of the string or end of the array. Okay, but I was not actually creating those permutations. So that's the only thing. And then if, if you just add these conditions of D and I for the permutations, so we get that even though it hits a TLE, but at least it passes many of the test cases,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
So
Mm,
if you
yeah.
go there, then you can what you are saying makes sense for these ones, and then you can build on for the more optimized version. Either I think this is you are going the DP way almost, right?
Yeah. Now we can go to the DP one.
Yeah. So
So
before going to DP, if you
uh,
have the solution of backtracking, can you just explain that backtracking and then you go for the DP way?
backtracking one, I've not implemented it, but
Okay.
yeah. So so the backtracking one, we need to add extra checking for each of the cases since we will be starting from the leftmost end here.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, when we try to do the backtracking one, for example, we can always start from all the numbers, which is 0, 1 to the value of n, which is length of the permutation. And then at any instant, when we see that those conditions are not satisfied, then we can just opt out of that particular case.
Right. So see, the way you're talking, it's exactly that. It's very simple. I know it's very trivial, so no one wants to implement it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is okay. So let me do one thing. I'll just share that, and then you continue with your explanation about this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. So this is the backtracking one, and this is normal permutation, what we do always, correct? So only the one different thing what I had to do, because we have only this S string as an input, and this will be a DID, something like that always, right? And so if the size of string is n, So I'm actually literally trying to create a nums array, because that is what the way we do for a permutation. We are always giving a nums array, right? So whatever the array, I'm constructing it, and I'm just constructing based on 0, 1, 2, 3. In this case, if my DID was there. So if my DID size was 3, so I'm constructing an array of 0, 1, 2, and 3. So I'm just taking this nums array, and also I'm using a visited array. Yeah, too much of things, too much of space consumption, but that's fine. So I'm using this array again for a visit. Also, I'm putting it here. Okay, and just this is a Boolean array of the same size as what my nums array is. These two with the helper function, and also I'm using this S string. Okay, and this current actually I'll form a valid permutation every time. So that will be the current permutation will be here, and this is the answer variable which I'll return, which will be the number of permutation which I find, which are the valid permutations. So this is the helper function, though it's a very big. Okay, just bear with me for some time. So this is the visit array. Okay, so for the permutation, right, at the this is the base case. Whenever your current, whatever this you are forming here, the permutation, the current permutation what you're forming here, if you reach, if it, the size is equal to the size of your nums array, it means you have reached one of the valid permutation, and therefore you increment your answer, and then you return from here. So this is the part where you do the permutation, right? So you actually run through the whole array every time. And this is the only thing what you do for most of the permutations, which is very simple. You mark this particular element as visited, okay? And then you push back that in your current. So whatever that element is, and then you do a recursive call again, correct? So if you keep on doing this recursive call at the end, when we are returning back, you have to backtrack. So therefore you remove the last element what you have put in your array, the current array, as well as you demark that as a false. Okay, but these are the only two conditions which are very special for our needs in this case. Okay, so what we do is whenever this is a DI, okay, so whenever we see it should be a decreasing sequence, right? So if my nums I, if it is actually greater than my current, so that is not a valid case, and therefore I continue from here. And the same thing I do for the increment also. If you just add these two, rest of the whole function is almost the same as a permutation. And then you are able to at least get to some extent in your solution that this will be a normal way of implementing if you use any of these permutation templates, right? So at least it passes to a large extent. If it is, that's fine.
Why will in IDX be negative? You are taking care of IDX greater than
Oh
equal
yeah,
to 0.
because IDX I'm taking the current size, right? So current size will be, I will always add some value to it. Initially it will be 0, right? So when I come, I add to that. So I would just want to look for the previous value. So because this D will be at the previous value, right? When I'm adding it.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. So this is normal permutation what we do. Okay.
It's
So
not
now,
more into it.
yeah, but this is not going to be a very valid one for the current implementation, but to some extent it will at least give us some leverage there. And then the way Abhishek was explaining, it will make more sense because we'll have to optimize it. Correct.
Yeah.
So we'll have to go the DP way. Yeah,
Yeah.
Abhishek, sorry, go ahead now.
Yeah, so our final answer, which we want is we want a n length permutation, which will be ending with all the numbers from 0 to n minus 1. So this is what our final answer will look like. Since we need a n length permutation, which will start from 0, either 0, 1, 2,
Mm-hmm.
and satisfying all the conditions of the given string. So this values we have to calculate individually. But again, if we look at this closely, this might happen that fun of n one is called twice or thrice. For example, fun n of one is called once here. Now in this function, if it was a increasing sequence, then we need all the values which are less than 2. So 0 and 1 will be called again. So
Mm-hmm.
we can see these some of the function calls or recursive calls will be repeated again and again. So this is why here we can use DP. But uh, so how do we define the DP here? I'll just copy this. Yeah, so DP, what are the DP states? These all are the DP states as well, which is the length of the permutation and the ending value, which is it is ending with. So DP of ij represents the number of permutation, which is the number of permutation of number from 0 to I, satisfying our DI rule, which is substring 0 to I and ending with digit j or number j, which is more feasible here. Now, yeah. Now, if we see how the DP state will further move, this is same like this one. When the value is the character is decreasing, we need all the values at the particular instant which are greater than j. So here, when it was a decreasing one, we needed all the values which are greater than 4, which is 5 here. But since we need a permutation of length I only, we can only go up to I, since we need a valid permutation at each of the particular instant. Similarly, if it is a increasing one, then in the increasing one, we always took the values which are uh, starting from 0 till the given number itself, which is from 0 to given number itself, which was digit j here. So we just need to find all possible combinations and just add it. So this is what the DP state will look like for our final answer. And then we can just compute this value using recursive or iterative version.
Right. So actually, the iterative also makes sense, right?
Yeah. Here, this is the first
Sorry,
question
yeah,
where
sorry. What do you say? The recursive
in
also makes sense, right?
in lead code, this is one of the first question where the DP hard problem, in the DP hard problem, even the iterative one is more easier as compared to the recursive ones. Since this is too trivial that we just need to calculate one previous step and either of the values of the previous DP states. So this can be done either recursively or iteratively. But since I do most of the questions recursively, so I did it recursive only. So
Concept is more dense here. Like, I mean, using
yeah. Both the anyways, the
No, no,
concept is same.
Abhishek. So you are saying
Yeah.
in this lead code, they have shown this one, the bottom-up approach, or maybe the iterative approach, and it looks more trivial to implement also, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes absolutely sense. Because if you go the recursive way, and if you really have that implementation, if you are trying to walk through, you will understand how complex it is to come up with that, right?
Yeah.
Right.
But the main idea is just generating the recursive calls or the recursive function,
Mhm.
how we are generating a particular permutation ending with a given number and satisfying our given DI rule or
Okay.
DI sequence.
Yeah.
So this is what we need to compute here. Now, if I go with my code, first minimize this. So this is our base function. Here I've first declared a DP of n cross n size with -1. And now there I mentioned that our final answer will look like this, which is 0 to n minus 1. But since here the n denoted the length of the permutation, but in our question, the n is the length of the sequence, which is one less than the given number. So this is why I traverse from 0 to n. And then I just add all the possible values, which is this get function, ending. So this will be permutation of length n ending with this particular character digit I. So this is our final answer. Now if I go through the get function here, uh, let's see the uh, DI rule sequence first. Now, if it is a decreasing one, this means that I need all the values which are greater than the particular number, which is the digit. So it will start from the digit and will go up to the length of the permutation. So similar as if here, it will if it is D, which is decreasing one, it will start from the length of the permutation. It will go from the digit itself and till the length of the permutation. Similarly, if it is increasing one, then it will start from 0 and it will go up to digit -1. Uh, Here we can see I've taken greater than and equal to error, but since it was one based indexing, so I will just change it to equal, and this will be less than. But the main idea will remain same, which is we are just recursively making our uh, problem smaller and smaller in each step. Since we are reducing our size of the permutation, which is this last, to -1 in each of the steps. And our base case would be there is no element present in the string, which is last will tend to 0, or since at each step, uh, okay, digit always goes from 0 to the length, so this won't be considered. But anyways, the base case would be when there is nothing left in the string, which is when the length of the permutation will be 0. So at that instant, we come to know that we got one of the valid combination, so we can just return one. And then we can just memorize it further. Since the constraints are pretty huge, so we needed to memorize this, since there might be some repeating sub problems here. So, and then we can just check if we already computed that particular sub problem, and then we can return it. So this is the
right. So in this case, if you see your you have to use two for loops, one for the D and one for I. Right.
Yeah.
Usually that doesn't come when we do most of our DP recursive problems, right? Yeah. And
Yeah.
also you have to be very specific about where your case starts from and ends to
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
both of them. That's very important. Yeah.
Hmm.
It looks like somewhat digit DP. It's not digit DP, but
Uh, the idea is
Maybe, yeah,
similar
that is
to
also a good one.
matrix chain multiplication. Since in matrix chain multiplication, the complexity come out to be n cube, and there we decide which interval to take from. Even here, we are reducing our interval from digit to last -1. So this is similar to matrix chain multiplication, but in matrix chain multiplication, we only have one for loop in our recursive call. Here we have two possible cases, so we have two for loops.
Correct. So now the same thing can be, changed to our the iterative solution, the bottom up, right? Because bottom up
Yeah.
also it's not going to be, because most of our DP solutions, they are totally different implementations. But for this, it is the structure remains almost the same, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
The way you're defining your the optimal substructure for the DP state. Okay.
states will be your index and that is and the number. How
Yeah.
many?
So I can be this number length of the permutation, and J can be the last number which we can take for the particular permutation. And then we can just iterate through this K value, which will determine the previous number which we could take in the previous permutation of length, just this last -1 or I minus.
Yeah.
So I'm only worried like how do you get the first permutation? Like first number you'll have to generate, right? Then only you will play with them. Okay, recursively, right?
Even in the iterative one, we start with the in the iterative one, we start with the first number, not the zeroth number. Since we can decide our zeroth number using the first DI rule.
Sequence, yeah. That is what I
Yeah,
was saying.
yeah.
So you are saying, Shashank, like in the on the line 27, 28, you should start because he's already doing that, right? From
Yeah,
27. Yeah, he's taking the first number there, and then only he's calling that recursive function get.
for the next set of numbers, yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
So that he is doing, and then whenever it comes here, he keeps on adding. If you have started from 0, so whatever value he got from 0, that those additions will be done here on line whatever that is 28.
12. This last, I mean, 20,
Yeah.
this for.
So for every time you will start with the branch from 0, you go all the way, do everything, come back. So that answer will be there. Then you'll move to 1 and then 2 to 2 and 3, 4, something like that. So, but
Yeah.
that you'll have to do. But for if you do the normal backtracking permutation, you don't do that. So that is a different thing what we'll have to do here. So yeah, yeah, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Abhishek. Yeah. So, oh, you wanted to share this one also, no? The other one.
No, I did not implement the iterative one.
Oh, okay.
Okay, iterative I'll show. I mean, I haven't. I just going through the. I was going through this thread only, like
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah. So this is a iterative. Like, I mean, one
This
DP
is the
array is like.
space optimized one.
Oh yeah, this is optimized because there you would be 2D matrix. So here one single D matrix it is, right? Like we are
Yeah, yeah.
swapping
So
the matrix. DP2 will go to
when
DP.
we were adding all the combinations, we can see that it is just adding the prefix or either adding the suffix, which is in this line dp of 2j equal to sum of dp j2i
Right,
or
J2.
dp dp 0 to j. So this is just adding the suffix or either adding the prefix.
Yes.
So this is further optimization to that
Yeah, this is
problem.
the most optimized version of the space also, correct?
Yeah.
Usually
Yeah,
we
yeah.
tend to go for the 2D array first because if you want to do it the matrix chain multiplication way, we'll need to do
Hmm.
that, right?
Course,
And then
Yeah,
we
yes.
yeah,
come
yeah.
to this one. Then only you actually understand this implementation. Okay.
Yes.
Either way,
Yes.
this is so hard problem that even going till matrix chain multiplicity or the recursive plus memoization would be fine, I guess here,
Yeah, yeah,
since
Mm.
this is pretty hard problem. Even I took
absolutely.
1 day to solve this.
Yeah, it takes a long time to understand it. Yeah, sure.
They were given so much of. These are the only
Okay.
main. So you have Santosh bottom up. You want to?
Well, I have the 2D. I can just show the diagram, then we can come and discuss here because I'm not going to completely implement that DP from bottom up, but I can quickly show the
Yeah,
diagram.
yeah, yeah. We are out. Yeah, just I mean, time is also
Yeah,
like
I know. Yeah,
within
that
an
is
hour.
not. I don't want to. Yeah. So here, actually, when I was working on this solution here, uh, this is the diagram. Okay. So if this is my DID. Okay. This is my input string, and then n will be 3. So I'll form a DP array of 4 by 4. So this is my
Okay.
DP array. Okay. So this internal part. Okay. So the ones which are actually 0, these are the rows, the number of rows 0, 1, 2, 3, and these are the number of columns, and all these inside that will be my array, DP array. And so whenever I start with, so initially this will be my base case or the zeroth location, they all will be 1, 1, 1. And if you see the matrix chain multiplication, the diagonal is this way now, right? So it is
But
this
I
way. Yeah, is opposite side. So for this D, so it is decreasing. So I'm marking this arrow like this. So what I do is every time I start from here, okay, and then add these two, and then so okay, sorry, for this one, I take this and then add it over here. Okay, for this two, I actually take these two and add. Okay, so that is the way I always do. And for this three, actually, I take all these three because I'm doing from the direction decreasing order. So when I
yeah.
go for increasing, in that case, then what I do is I start from the second row. Okay, then I take from my left side now. So from left side, okay, this will be marked here directly. But for coming to this, I will actually add these two. Okay, because I'll have to always look for the previous row and get all these values and then keep adding them. And I will just add till this two only because that is what actually will this row number will decide how many columns I have to go because I have to keep on decreasing, right? So then at the end you see this is the in this direction. So if I come here, see all these are zeros. So this 5 will actually be just written over here because we don't have any numbers further. So it is like this way you'll have to do based on what your combinations are. If this was also D, then again I would have done the same thing the way I would have done it. Like from here I would have gone from the right side and then kept on adding. Yeah, so this is the
bottom up of this.
the bottom up approach with a 2D. But the way you are doing, Shashank, you are actually keeping only these two at a
Arrays
time,
and swapping them
right?
every time.
Yeah, and then you are swapping them. Okay, yeah.
Let's move to next, I think. So next is this Pacific Atlantic water flow. Okay. So this is like M cross and matrix is given, filled of non-negative integers, which represents the height of each unit cell in a continent, Pacific Ocean, which touches the left and top edges of the matrix, and Atlantic Ocean touches the right and bottom edges. Your water can overflow in can flow only in 4 directions, and from a cell to another with a height or equal to lower. So you have to find the list of grid coordinates where water can flow to both Pacific and Atlantic Ocean. These are the order of the return grid coordinates does not matter, and both are less than 150. So this is like a swimming one, right, Santosh? Couple of days which we are solving. If the height of the water increases, then people can swim. Something like priority.
No, this is slightly different.
They are different. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I got
So
okay.
this looks more straightforward in
To a
some cases
BFS.
when we actually dealing with the borders, right?
Mhm.
And then we want to actually take a decision if a particular cell or particular connected component is touching a border, then how we do deal with it.
In this case, yeah.
Yeah, so that is more important here. But that problem was slightly different because we wanted to start from one level and then keep on increasing to the next level, and we are trying to find a shortest path. But yeah, if you think that way, if you want to find a shortest path, yeah, so all the BFS
With priority queue, they will
approaches, they almost come in a similar way.
yeah.
Yeah, but that we need a priority. Here you don't need anything like that, right? Any
No,
special.
normal
Yeah.
DFS or DFS in 4 directions.
I guess the brute force one would be we start our traversal from each of the nodes in the given matrix, and then we can just check that after the traversal is done for the particular node, uh, we fall into either of the two oceans or not. If we fall, then we can just add those particular index in our final answer. So for each of the nodes, we can start our traversal, either DFS or BFS, and
Yeah.
then we can just check if both oceans are met using that particular traversal or not.
Okay, so you mean to say you maintain an array, and for each and every cell, you go all the directions. You start any BFS, DFS, and then when you hit on the Atlantic or Pacific, okay, or if you
Both,
just both, if you
both.
hit both, or if you hit either one of them, based on
Yeah,
that, you actually store that state in that particular cell. Correct?
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
That would be the brute force one.
Right. Right.
Bidirectional BFS.
But isn't that also not a optimal solution? I'm just
No, we
checking.
are starting it for each of the nodes.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So for each node, we are doing DFS. So there will be n square nodes, and then again for the DFS, we would be needing n square complexity. So it will be n to the power 4, I guess.
In that case, yeah. Because n square elements and n square DFS per structure. Yeah, in part for it should.
Yeah, yeah. This is why we can treat it as a brute force one.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, we
Okay.
want to share.
So then, what is the best way to do?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the one would be we start from the edges where Pacific and Atlantic Ocean start. So we do this in reverse manner that the water will flow from Atlantic to the given matrix, or the water will flow from Pacific to the given matrix. And now at any node, if both the waters are present, this means that from that particular node, we can move to both the oceans. So we can include that particular node in our final answer.
Okay. So you'll
So
start from either one ocean and then
yeah,
do that. Okay.
yeah. Okay, so uh, okay, I'll share the DFS one first. So this is the main function. Here I've assigned a grid of size n cross r cross c, which is size of the matrix itself, and assign it with 0. Now, when I traverse to the in the given matrix, I know that the Pacific exists only. So the Pacific starts in this row and in the first column only. So this is why if either of these two conditions are satisfied, I will call my Atlantic function. This Atlantic function, what it will do, it will mark all the nodes with one uh, where I can reach from the Pacific Ocean. Uh, I did this in opposite manner, I guess. Yeah, I did this in opposite. No problem. So, uh, so what will happen here is when uh, the function Atlantic will be called, this means that uh, uh, the DFS call will start from the first row and the first column, and then all the nodes which we can visit using the given condition which they have mentioned here, that it has to be greater than or equal to, then we will mark all the values with 1 if we can reach till that point. Uh, Otherwise, we can just break out of the loop. Similarly, we will do the same for the last row and the last column. This means that the water will flow from the last column and the last row, and here we will start marking with 2. Now at any moment, if let's suppose the given node was marked 1 itself, this means that, and now we reach it with the traversal, the second traversal. This means that from that particular node, we can move to any of the two oceans. So this is what these two functions are doing here. So these are basically DFS calls. So if I move to Atlantic one, here I just mark it with 1. Yeah, I mark it with 1. If it is already visited, I just return back. And now, since I have four possible ways to move from, that is top, bottom, left, right, I'll just iterate through and check if the given index is valid and my condition is satisfied. If it is satisfied, I'll just
Yeah,
recursively call my function
yeah, I'll
again.
be looking into that. The last story.
Go ahead.
Okay, so after Atlantic is called, what will happen in the grid is all the nodes will be marked as 1 wherever we can uh, get through from the first row and the first column. Now, when the Pacific one would be called, here if at any instant the grid was marked 1 and I can reach it, then this means that uh, uh, both the oceans can be reached from that particular node. So I include it in my final answer. Otherwise, if it is already marked 2, I will just return. This means that I have already visited that node. If I again visit it, then it will make a cycle, and then it will give me a time limit exit. So this I need to check. Otherwise, I will just mark it as 2, and I will start my DFS call again, checking all the base case and then our given condition, and then recursively calling it again for
Okay.
the neighboring nodes.
Uh-huh. And how do you combine them now at the end?
Yeah, this line took care of that particular thing. If
Okay.
it was already marked as 1, and
Oh,
now I come to the same node, this means that I can move from both the oceans to that particular node.
okay.
So I add it to the answer.
Mhm. Oh, so you don't have to do a separate thing. You can actually do it there itself. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. So this is the DFS one, but again, if it can be done with DFS, since we don't need to find the shortest part, we just need to find if traversal exists or not.
Mm-hmm.
So we can do this in BFS manner also.
Mm-hmm.
So I did this in BFS one. Okay, we'll start from here. So the first BFS would be marking the grid as 1. The same concept will be used, but here we won't be using the DFS traversal. Here we'll be using the BFS traversal. So firstly, we will push all the nodes which are in the first row and the first column in the queue, and then we will do the BFS call, and then we will mark all in the grid all the values as 1 whenever we reach from the particular nodes. And then we just iterate through all the neighbors. Now after this BFS is done, which denotes I have reached all the nodes which I can get from the first row and the first column. Now I need to do another BFS from my last column and the last row. So here I'll just push again all the values in my queue, and now I'll again do the BFS. But here the same which condition which I took in the DFS, I'll check if it is already marked as 1 in my grid. I'll push that particular node in my answer. And if it is 2, this means I have already got through this node. I will continue my BFS. Otherwise, I will just mark it as 2, and then I'll just traverse to all its neighboring nodes. And finally, I will just return my answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So both the approach are similar. The main idea is same. They are marking it as 1 in the grid, and if in the second traversal, if it is already marked 1, this means that I can get through with both the oceans to that particular node. So I can just include it in my final answer.
Yeah, this is an optimized BFS and DFS both, because you're doing it there itself,
Yeah.
generating the answers. Yeah, or else you need another step at the end to find out which are the cells which are visited by both of them. But this makes a super smart way of doing it, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
And tomorrow's problem, we have that priority Q1 rise water. I mean,
Okay.
BFS, yeah.
Yeah. So let's go with the last one.
Yeah. Sure. So, yeah.
You want
So
to
this is
go
all.
through this?
No,
You want to
this is
describe your approach on the Valley Pacific Atlantic?
okay. And
What
it's
was
the
your?
same. Yeah, sure. I will go to this. It won't take much time. So what I'm doing, like, if there is no matrix, we return. This is like all the 4 possible directions. This is your rows and the columns, and this is Pacific visited and Atlantic visited, right? For each one of them, and
Okay.
you are going through each of the rows, right? And just making a DFS call on them, like the matrix you are passing IN0, this your, what do you say, the rows and the columns, and P visited, not the rows and columns, this is the initial, what do you say, like every row it will go through, right? Every rows of that, and this is for the Atlantic I'm passing. Similarly, I'm going through each of the columns, and then this call is for the what do you say, Pacific, and this is for the Atlantic, right? And
Okay.
now while going through each of the matrix, I just now whatever, if this is visited, and if this is not visited and this is also not visited, then we append that particular coordinate to the result, right?
This is visited. Both of them are visited, then you append it.
Append. Okay, yeah, true,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, you have to have.
Yeah, and this
Yeah,
is
so
your
this is an
DFS.
extra step what you have to do. Okay, let's go to the DFS. Yeah.
To this, yeah. DFS is normal one. Like first time you are visiting, you make it true and increase the index and check. You shouldn't go outside the boundary, and your XY, this should be less than your matrix INJ, right?
Right.
And then you just make a DFS call for the, what do you say, for that given matrix. Isn't it?
No problem.
That way, yeah.
Okay, cool.
So next is like value Sudoku. So we'll just read that. So this is like a Sudoku is there, and every cell you make sure that in every square number shouldn't be repeated, neither in row nor in calls, and neither what do you say, across the domain. All what do you say, bigger cell, right? Like column wise or row wise.
Column wise, row wise, and the block wise also.
Block wise, yeah. So these 3 things you have. So it's a standard backtrack only, right? Just place the elements and check whether it's sufficing or not.
Yeah, it can be done in a backtrack way, or you can just go through each and every cell.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then when you are at a cell, you can actually store those locations in some sort of a data structure,
Mhm.
right? Maybe something like a map or other things, and then keep on looking for it if there are duplicates, either in the columns, rows, or maybe the blocks. So you can have three different data structures for columns, rows, and blocks. And
Blocks,
every time,
yes.
whenever you're going, whenever you encounter any cell, you look for which cell, that particular cell lies in which column and which row. Okay, so before placing, you just check if there is duplicate already available of the same value. If it is, then you return false. If it is not, then you place that, and then you keep doing for all of them, right? So that can be done without a backtracking also.
Yeah, I did the exact same way using set.
Oh, you
Same
want to share?
logic. Yeah.
Go ahead.
So the goal is, let's go back to Sudoku. So the goal is we need to make sure we have three conditions. We pass the three conditions, right? The first condition is there is no rows in the there is no duplicates in the rows and every rows. The second condition is there is no duplicates in every columns, right? And the third condition is there is no duplicates in every region. So these are reasons. This box.
Okay.
Those three conditions, then we have a valid Sudoku, right? And that's why I made, for those to pass those three conditions, I made three sets: row set, column set, region set. Now, since it's a 9x9, what I said was, okay, let's make I'm going to make a array of row set that's going to have 9 hash set. Same with the column set, same with the region set. It's an array, right? And then what I did was I did a for loop, and for each of those 9, for each of those, here I'm saying for each of these rows, I'm making a hash set. For each of these columns, I'm making a hash set. And for each of this region, 0, 1, 2, 9 region, I'm making a hash set. And I'm only doing that to make sure if I can check duplicates, right? And then, okay, now, once again, the goal is to read all 81 cells, right? So all 81 of these small boxes. And that's what I do over here. It's my double for loop. I visit every single cell. And then I say, okay, give me, now, I believe, yep, it's the board has the value is going to be char, right? So first I retrieve the value, give me what the value is. And also what I also did, a nifty thing is, okay, row and column is easy to get, right? It's I and J, but the reason is a little tricky because these are reasons. So these 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I made a little helper method that's going to give me the reason based on what the row and column indices are. So that's what I said here. Get reason number. And the way it works is it's pretty simple, right? So if I say 0, 1, 2, I said if row is less than 3, which is 1, 2, 3, and the column is less than 3, column is here, then this is 0, right? If low is less than 3, column less than 6, then give me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? Similar, the same logic, right?
Oh yeah. So it actually is pretty straightforward. It looks pretty straightforward now, and we don't tend to make any mistakes there. Yeah, I like
Exactly.
that.
This is
Yeah.
easy to remember, easy to come up in the interview, right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And then I said, okay, I mean, it can have dot or numbers. I say, if it's not, if it's not a dot, then give me the convert that value, char values in integer, right? Because we're doing everything in integer. And then I said, okay, add it to our all three sets. And at any point, if we can add it to a set, just return false. If it pass all those three conditions at the end, give me return true. That was it. And time and space will be both O of 1 on this.
So when you are adding to the set, if you return false,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so that is what your function will return, true or false. Okay.
Right. So
Mhm.
so it adds it, and at any point, this is our operator. At any point, it says if we can't add to any of these three sets, then return false. That means we have duplicates at some point at either row, column, or the reason. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. This is good. I like the way you created the get region num.
Yeah.
It's really, or else you'll have to keep calculating divide by and 3 and take a modulo of it, right? Yeah,
Yeah, no, that I
that's
would
much
not
easier.
remember that on an interview, but this is something
Absolutely.
that I would interview.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone would actually prefer like this, but the way you showed is now easier to understand and get in an interview also. Makes
Yeah.
sense. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I did the same in C++, but if we want to determine which block we need to find,
Mm-hmm.
that can be done using a simple formula.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, J plus by 3, that would, I mean,
Yeah. So these are the three vectors. These are the three matrix which it determines for particular column number all the values have occurred or not. So all these metrics will be initialized with 0. Now I iterate through each of the value of the board, and first I find the particular value, and since the values will be in the range 1 to 9, but my matrix was still 0 to 8 index only, so I'll just do -1. Now to find the particular block in which the particular character belongs to, we can do this formula, which is I by 3 into 3 plus j by 3. So in one line we can determine which block it depends. Uh, the particular character belongs to. So for the first block, this IND value will be 1. For the second one, it will be always 2. Similarly for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then it is, since it is 0 base, so this block number will start from 0 and it will go up to 8, which is here, which we have declared in the matrix. Now we just check if any of these values are already set. If it is set, we just return 0. Otherwise, we set the particular values in each of the column, row, and the particular block.
yeah,
Okay.
that
Yeah,
formula.
but that formula, yeah, it is okay. So it looks so different, like I divided by 3 multiplied by 3. Why not I just, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's
We need
okay.
to find some value where the same value we can get for the characters in the same block.
Okay.
even I
So
should
yeah,
work, I think, isn't it?
yeah. So if you look closely, how this first value will be calculated is so for the first all the values in the first row, the I value will come out to be 0. And then
Yeah,
this j value will contribute to what index I have to choose from in the particular column. So j by 3 for the first one will be 0. So this will be 0. J by 3 for first one, uh, j by 3. Okay, it will be
that particular
2. Yeah, it will be 2 by 3, I suppose.
So if
If
it
it
is
is,
2 by 3, it means you are in the second
zero.
column. 0
yeah,
base
yeah,
second column. So you are still
2
in
by
that
3 is
0
zero only.
block, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah. And then the for this one, j by 3 will calculate, since it will start from 6, I suppose. So it will give me 2. No, it will start from 5 and it will go up to uh, 7 or
No, it will start from 6, 7, 8, right?
yeah,
6,
it will
7, 8
start.
will be there. So it will be 2. Yeah.
Yeah, so it will give me 2. So all the values in this block will be 2. So 0, 1, 2. Similarly, the I value will give me 1 for this particular row, and then this j value will give me 1, 2, 3. Similarly, it will be 4, 5, 3, 4, and 5. So in this way, this is calculated.
Yeah. So this formula is handy, but if you remember it and if you do it well, or fine, or else, yeah, you'll have to do it the way you are describing. You walk through each and every cell, and take some examples, so it might be possible. Yeah. No problem. Yeah, this is good. Okay.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
We are done, right?